by the name of the Ultimate Talk Show at this point of time. In studio, I do have a very multi-talented young lady. Should I say young? Yes, of course, young indeed, by the name of Lebogang Selahle. She will give, if I can talk about her right now, I might spend the entire hour talking about her bio. But just in a nutshell, I can say that by profession, she is a psychologist. Today on the show, we're going to be talking all things redefinition, self-redefinition during COVID-19, most importantly. But let me not waste any time and just give her the platform to introduce herself. Good evening, madam, and how are you today?
Good evening, and good evening to the audience. I'm doing well, and I'm blessed and highly favored.
Speaking of being highly blessed and favored, first and foremost, you look amazing. Thank you for coming through on top of the hour, 7 o'clock. And you know what? It's a new show. It's the Ultimate Talk. You're going to be talking all things self-redefinition. But in a nutshell, can you please give an introduction to the listeners of Gateway FM? Who is Lebogang Selahle?
Okay, Lebogang Selahle is the CEO of Beatitudes Psychology Center. When you write it down, it might look like it's Beatitude, but it's pronounced Beatitude. We are based in Polokwane. We have a branch in Pretoria and a branch in Secunda as a clinical psychologist, because psychologists differ. So I am a clinical psychologist.
I like when you say that you are clinical psychologist. It means that you work with the mind. It means that you are able to know what goes through people's mind. Not really psychic though,
exactly.
But you are able to understand how does a mind of a human being works, most importantly. You know what? Wa mogetso mo Gateway FM ka lethabo le ka matsogo a boruto e re thome re dire ka sona se bopego se go bontšha gore le amogetswe e re bone ka sona se bopego seo MS Lahle le amogetswe on the Ultimate Talk Show. But I want to, before we tap into the show, a lot of people don't really know Lebogang Selahle, where you come from, where you grew up, because for us it might be it might be cliche just to tap into the show without getting to understand Lebogang Selahle or ke mang Lebogang Selahle. This show, it's now permanent on Gateway FM on Sundays from 7 until 8. And who knows, maybe as time goes on, we're going to increase the slot. Who knows, depending on the listenership and viewership of people at large. But
okay. If you want me to take it back there, Lebogang Selahle is the only surviving daughter. We were only 2 daughters. My younger sister is late, and she left me with 2 beautiful daughters that I'm raising. And I'm born from the old man. My father is still alive. I thank God for that. He's 86-year-old, but going stronger. Paulo Selahle, and my mother is Saria Selahle. She comes from Hamabelane. And I was born in Tembisa, and I grew up in Denelton, a small village called Nahaneng. And I schooled around there until I went high school. And from there, I worked in Lupasture Hospital, but my passion was to come and serve my people back in Limpopo. Then I came and started to work in Polokwane. I was the principal clinical psychologist of Greater Sekhukhune District and Lepelle-Ngumbi Municipality. I'm the one who established the psychological services in the district of Sekhukhune and Lepelengumbi. I was also supervising students at the hospitals. I was also a lecturer of psychology with University of Venda. Currently, I'm supervising the master's students, University of Limpopo. So, but I just find myself being able to multitask. I'm the founder of this Beatitudes Psychology Center. And I'm the founder of Beatitude Faith Product Farm. There are times where you will find me as a farmer, you will not recognize me. And I'm the founder also of Pretty Badgers, School for Kids. We don't call it a crash. It's a school for kids because really they are in school at a tender age.
Marvelous, marvelous, marvelous indeed. I like the introduction at large for people to be able to know. Found Gateway FM, the hottest informative radio station in the entire Limpopo. You said something about your sister who's late. May her soul rest in eternal peace. And you know what? It's a very, very good introduction because I like the way how you talk. It really shows that you are a psychologist. You are down to earth. The level of communication, you know, one would really pay attention just to listen. What is it that she's saying? You know, because the level of engagement, you can hear that indeed you're really touching people's lives. All right, let's get on the show. I don't know that I want to get to understand before we tap into the show. What is it that in the coming weeks and from now that people can expect from you, as a psychologist and as someone who's in different departments, whether farming, whether different department, what is it that people can expect from you from now on going forward here at Gateway FM?
Oh, I can say this show is pregnant. But teleji ba swanetse ba tseba gore lenaneo le awa le tletse le a tshologa. We will be empowering each other and we will be teaching each other so that re kgone go tseba dilo re di kwishishe re ske ra no kra re di bolela ka tsela e seng yona. So it's more of empowering people and educating our nation so that re kgone go godisha South Africa. So I believe young business people, individuals, employees, corporate, everybody's going to benefit from this show.
I really do agree with you 100%. We make sure that we roll with the show, we kickstart, we give you what's required, because I personally believe that the content of this show, it's beyond this world. It's extraordinary. It is the spice, the flavor that you add on a double cheeseburger. Like I say, my name is Ben Flavor. Rolling with Leborang Salate on Gateway FM. Let us do this.
Amazing talk and experience greater acceleration than ever before.
Looking very nice. I can see that you're wearing a warm jacket right now. In studio, you're warm for this conversation to give us what's needed to be done. But let's get on it, Leborang. Today our theme, we're going to be talking all things self-redefinition, right? Redefinition, am I right? Am I putting it right?
Yes, you're pronouncing it right.
All right, self-redefinition in during this pandemic of COVID-19. I mean, before we tap into the whole theme of it, or the whole title of it, one would be listening right now and they would say probably, Leborang, what do you mean by self-redefinition during this COVID-19? How would you break it down in a nutshell?
I would like us to take it in English and also in Sotho.
Yes,
so that Sepedi, so that batho ba habo rena ba kwishishe.
Yes.
And ba ba nyakang go understand more in English ke dumela gore ge re fetša re tlo ba fa that YouTube channel
Indeed.
ba tlo ikry-a gabotse ba kgona go ekwa gabotse ka sejahlapi ya kere.
Yes.
Ehe.
Yes.
So when we say you are redefining yourself, it means you are doing what is called self-reflection. Wa tenyakishisha gore ka gare ga boemo bo lebaneng le bona ke wena mang, ke tše dife tše o tlhokang go di tlogela, ke tše dife tše e leng gore o na le tšona o be o sa di šetše, empa ge o ka thoma go di tlhokomela di tlo go tšwela mogola. I can say in a nutshell, ka Sepedi, that is self-redefinition, where you reflect, you find out who you are, your weaknesses, you turn them into your strong points, and you also identify traits about yourself that you were not really taking care of, neglecting or limiting their abilities. And now you say, in this situation, can I take these new traits or the traits that I've been having all along but not nurturing, and find myself and move on no matter the situation?
You know, right now, as I'm listening to you, I feel like you're talking to me right now, because it goes back to the SWOT analysis. It goes back to defining your weaknesses, your strength, the threats, and the things that you've been missing back then. And now they're in your life, how can you really, really underline and outline them, most importantly? You know, it's only been a minute, but I feel like we have tapped into it. I mean, over here you're saying something flavor. This show has flavor already, you know, mind-boggling at large. So now, while listening to you defining self-redefinition, like to redefine yourself as a human being, you know, in this day and age, you find it that we're having like millennials, young people, they're still lost on whether what kind of direction can they find in terms of reaching their highest potentiality, in terms of the goal or the direction they're supposed to take through. I personally believe along the journey we're going to be tapping into that. But let's get on it. What is it that we have today on the show in terms of the content prepared? I don't know how to really structure this, but I personally believe that you have an angle, an editorial angle to, you know, get me along this conversation.
Today we're going to look for this pandemic, ya COVID, it affected go fihla kae, and it shikinchije the whole nation. And now ro lebelela gore ke eng se se ka diriwang gore re kgone go survive ka gare ga yona pandemic yona e, re kgone go thrive, re kgone go tšwela pele. Ge boemo bo fitlhile ba go swana le COVID, re bitša gore ke outbreak a ke re ka sekgowa, ka Sepedi re tla re ke leuba, is something e tlang go sena motho a emetšeng, e nowa a gona wa leng prepared. Wa tseba ge go be go bolelwa ka COVID, ke gopola gabotse gore batho ba bantši ba ile ba tswalela di-business ba ya ba go tswalelela ka gae, because re boditše gore there should be a certain distance that we keep from each other. And we felt the only place where we are safe is in our homes. And then now the economy was so severely affected, mo e leng gore now ke nako ya gore re thome re tšwele pele, re lebelele gore na re tlo phela bjang ka baka la gore ge di-business di seno di ba ka tsela yela, batho ba ile ba makala ge mafelelo a kgwedi a fihla a ba sa hwetša meputso yela ba beng ba emetše, ba botša gore ke ka lebaka la COVID, and le wena wa tseba gore a sa ka la šoma, and then ba bangwe ebile ba lahlegetšwe ke mešomo, and then ba bangwe malapa a thubegile ka lebaka la COVID. Banna ba be ba sa phele ka gae le basadi ba bona, jalo ba te khwetša ba te tswaleletše ka gae. And ka nnete go bile bothata, a mangwe malapa a ile a tsoga, and then ba bangwe a lahlegile just ka lebaka la COVID. That's where we are going today.
You know what? You really touched in broader aspects, you did really break it down that a lot of people really, the entire nation was being affected by COVID-19 when it came into the world at large. And you did really explain that, Ben Flavor, you must remember that, a lot of families, they were not used to coming together, but they found themselves being together at that time. What an emotional show, man, touching people's lives. All right, though I want us to really focus on the positive side of it, because I don't feel like, yes, it happened. People lost their jobs. People were disadvantaged. Then there's some that couldn't even get employed because of COVID-19. Some even lost family members when COVID-19 came because of this COVID-19. But I would like us, maybe if we can, just to focus on the positive side, on how people can really see the light at the end of the tunnel.
That is my point, Ben Flavor.
Yes.
Hore lubale, this crisis. Gereka elebelela from linjulela sijahlapila crisis. Hore imena eng. Rayonyaka, the origin, yeah, the word crisis, as an English word, is a Greek word, which it's pronounced krisis, and then etwa from a verb ebijuan krino. So when you start to look for krisis krino, era horeng, it means to separate, it means to distinguish, to decide. So kannete this crisis go ba le ubalela COVID-19 ga le nyake re le lebelela ka leihlo la boshega ke sebaka se se botse lubalela la COVID ke sebaka sa gore re bone gore mabele ke ya mafeng and then chafu kana chafu ka sepedi ba ke moko moko ko feng ene korong ke e feng ye ke nako ye la re reng makwala ga a tšhetšele morago kwa pele go ya ba dipelo tše thata ke nako ya go bontšha gore ba ba brave ke bomang ke nako ya go tekhwetša gore ke rena bomang ene ge re ka e lebelela ka leihlo la go se be le bofiega ke mo re tlo go bona mashoba a mabotse a bulegang the opportunities le the openings ke mathomo a sehla se se msa ene gore go tlo go be le sehla se se msa gore go tlo go be le pula go thoma ka go tla ledimo akere so COVID ye ke ledimo mara re tshwanetse re emele gore ge le feta re tlonela ke pula ene ke pula ya matlhogonolo ke pula ya go thoma dilo ka buswa ke pula ya go tlisha revolution the improvement mo re be go re hlepišitša gona ke nako ya go tisha wa tseba re be re le relaxed bophelo ino ba wa rena mara COVID-19 e thoma go bontšha ga bona o ka se tsene mošomong ka 11 mara wa expecta gore o tlo ba prosperous.
You know what? I'm super excited and super amazed by what Leborang is saying right now. That you know what? It's high time that people really realize that are they brave enough? Because Leborang is really outlining that you know what? We don't need to be afraid of this COVID-19, because you find it that a lot of people, they drift away. They don't really want to talk about it. A lot of people, they don't really want to touch it, most importantly. But I would love that we started so nice, and we even like flowing like the water right now. We're flowing like the river. I don't feel like we could retouch our theme of self-redefinition, because then when you spoke, yes, I'm listening attentively now. I felt like there's more to give from you and to give to the listeners. Let's say, for instance, right now we find that there's a little young girl or a little young boy still struggling or trying to find themselves of who they are and what kind of direction can they take. And going back to self-redefinition, I would like you to be able to touch on aspects on how they can really find their true self. I remember the last time I spoke to you, you said to me, Ben, I want you to go back and do a self-discovery and go and watch those videos. I want you to find yourself of who are you, who you truly are. And it really touched me. I thought about it. thought about it, and I did that. But then it came to my senses that how about, because we're having this theme of self-redefinition today, how about we can be able to change people's lives in a way that you can be able to give us a blueprint of how a young person can really discover their highest potentiality and their true reflection of who they are. I mean, as a psychologist, you have dealt with minds. You really know what I'm talking about right now. Yes.
When we started, we mentioned hore this show is gonna benefit batho ba bagolo, baswa le ba banyane. And before I answer what you are saying, I want to say, when you talk of young people ba ba tenyakang ka gare ga COVID-19, it tlisha le batswadi ka gare.
True.
Re le batswadi, we are re gotse re tseba gore motho ya sekolong a re go fetša sekolo mmušo a mo fa mošomo. And when ngwana hao a etla go botša gore I want to be a DJ, for example,
yes.
And then you go like, you can't be a DJ. Gape ntho wa se mmereko. Because as a government ye mo hirang.
Yes.
Motswadi o tseba le gore ngwana ga tla re wa bereka o na le income o ba successful ke ge mmušo o mo file mošomo. Mola ile gore re tshwanetse go thuša mmušo, rena re le mmušo ke rena re le mmušo and re tshwanetse re te thuše. So ga re lebelela a young person ka gare ga COVID-19 ke nako ye leng gore di talent le di skills tša bona di tšwetše nyanyeng. We see them ba tšwelela ka tsela ye e makatšang and ba successful. Batho ba ke batho ba technology. Wena no fa ngwana wa 2 years cell phone o tla ya mo wena mongwa phone o senkeng o ikhumane o ile gona go bontšha gore ba belego le yona ba itseba. Ke no fa example ya gore this is the time e leng gore ba re bontšha gore ke bona bomang ba belegwe ba tshwereng ka gare ga matsogo a bona. So ge re nna re le batswadi re ka se ba limite ra ba embrace gore di gift le di skills tse ba nang le tsona ra ba embrace ka gare ga tsona. Ba bang ke bo majaivane and ba dira bophelo ka gare ga go jaiva and ba successful, ba prosperous. So COVID-19 ke nako ya gore rena re le batswadi nke re lahle fase this thing ya go nyaka go shape di career tša bana ba rena, re ba dumelele ba be se ba leng sona and go na le tše dintši tše ba re tshwaretšeng tšona tše di tlileng le COVID-19 and di reacha to a better place.
Wow, that was entirely powerful, profound, sweet, straight to the point, without any hesitation. It's high time that parents really give kids the benefit of the doubt. I mean, you find that in this day and age, that young people can do things that beyond that parents can expect with the phone, to go to things that parents could never thought of, most importantly. But when looking at your prepared content there, I can see that you touched on there how critical the pandemic is of COVID-19 there. But before that, let me say thank you for really touching based on the theme of self-redefinition, of how can a young person really see light at the end of the tunnel. But I don't know how to drift away, because I don't feel like, me also as a young person, I have so much in my mind right now, but I'm trying to really structure things accordingly, according to how we prepare things. Looking at what you prepared right here, I can see that you did highlight that this pandemic is very traumatic and resulted in fatality, such as loss of businesses and many more. But I want to know from you, Lebogang, as a psychologist, when you give people counseling, when you help people who have been traumatized, people who have went through the most because of this pandemic that we are in that process on its own, what are some of the things that you have also learned which you didn't really knew about, but when you really helped people as a psychologist for them to be back on their feet again, what are some of the lessons that you really learned and you're able to help people to come back to their feet, and today they are standing on their feet, they are back today? Maybe you can be able to share with us.
Okay, thank you, Ben. And thank you for touching on the issue of counseling. And let me take an opportunity. Ke je sebaka se ke no tlhalosetsa ba theletši gore ba tle ba kwishishe gore ge ke be ke re ko mathomong di psychologists di a fapana. Counseling ke eng, and then clinical psychologist o dirang.
Yes.
Counseling le social worker wa e dira, le moagišane wa e dira. O bolela le moagišane wa re wa tseba ke eme so moagišane a ra man mara mohlomong go ka dira, and then that is counseling.
Yes.
So go na le the type mohuta o mongwe wa di psychologist ba ba dirang counseling, re ba bitsa re ke di counseling psychologist. And then he re tla bo go bolebogang bo di clinical psychologist, re na re di expert, re wela ka gare ga ditsebi. Yes, counseling ra e dira jwale ka ge ke re le moagišane counseling wa e dira, mara a se area ye re tlogang ge re mošomong ra iphina ka mošomo ge re dira ra be re bolela ka counseling. Re na re dira ntho e bitswang psychotherapy. So like ore ge re lebelela preparation yaka, presentation e ka mokgo ke preparileng, ke bolela gore batho ba latlhegetswe ke di business tša bona. Na ge motho a latlhegelwa ke business, ge motho a latlhegelwa ke molekane, ka gare ga gare go šala dintho tša mohuta mang. So counseling re tla be re no mo homotša re rawa lehu ke moyeng wa lapa le lengwe le le lengwe. Awa ka sitle ka ga go fela o re etela ka moka go motšega ke counseling eo. But now when we go to psychotherapy, re na re ya go tsena ka gare ga motho ra re di wounds, dintho tše di šetšeng ka morago ga go latlhegelwa ke molekane, ka morago ga go latlhegelwa ke business, ke tša mohuta mang. And then go na le dilo tša go swana le bo shame, ke gore go tlalela go apešwa ke ditlong ka baka la gore batho ba be ba tseba o dira gabotse, o phela gabotse. And then jalo ba bang ba šetše ka anger gore mara o ka re ba re COVID e tšwelela kae ge be se ka bona molekane ya ka nka ba sa phela. Ba bangwe ke rile malapa a thubegile ka lebaka la gore ba be ba sa phele mmogo, ba phela mmogo. Go na le dilo le di bitša gore ke di side chick ne. Gape jale side chick le ena o nyaka motho wa gage, and then jaanong di tlhola mathata ka kwa gae, go bile le di divorce tše dintši ka lebaka la di side chick. And then ka lebaka la gore a gona tšhelete, go bile le a lot of domestic violence. Jale batho ba šetše ka dintho, ba bangwe ba angry, ba bangwe ke ra gore ba kwatile ka spedi, ba bangwe ba feela gore ba betrayed. Rena ge re dira counseling re lebelela gore ba go betse go fihla kae, ra ba fodiša ka lebaka la gore ge re se re ba fodiše go tshwana fela le gore ka moga Ben Flavor go na le motlhare a mara re sa o nyaka ka re o re direla matlakala, then mara le no khatha di branches tše gape a se le berekane le motlhare. That is counseling.
Yeah.
A counseling, you know, berekana le go kata di branches te. And ra tseba re fetsa go di kata. Di tlo tswelela ebile di re fa another shape. So o kra motho ka mra wa mengwaga a sa tlhatsa tseba le gore ga botse o tla re bothata ba gage bo thomile kae. Ka baka la re di branches ke tse di msa. Ha sa tukusha gore wa ya lwala. And o tseba gore go lwala moyeng le pelong ya gago. Di ka tsa gona di tswelela ka nama. O tlo di kwa mo nameng, o tla bona le tlhogo ya go se fole. Wa re ka re ke a consulta barawa na re bone problem mara ba busy ba go fa dipilisi. That is a sign ya gore a se re o lwala nama. There is something. Mara ge re be re no dira counseling re sa ye into psychotherapy, re sa heal di wounds tse di leng ka mogare. Awa o tlo no phela o shopper around o re o psychologist a di re tsona we ya go yo. And then o go ka go ka onenyana ke re le boletse le khathile di branch. So what I'm trying to say ke gore psychotherapy is to the roots of the problem. Dintho tse di leng ka gare ga motho ya ditumula a fola ke moka ge ba ebe e le buka ya bophelo a itswalela a thoma go ngwala ye msa. Ge ba ebe e le karolo or a chapter le yona a itswalela a thoma go ngwala chapter ye msa.
At this point of time, it is a Gateway FM, the hottest informative radio station in the entire Limpopo, best prominent online radio station. This is the ultimate talk show. My name is Ben Flavor, and I'm with Lebogang Selate, psychologist by profession, and she's in different departments. And at this point of time, she touched many things. You touched on the importance of boletse gore o ka kgonagala gore motlhomo o lwala moyeng. Ge o ya to a certain doctor, you find that they don't find anything o lwala moyeng. But I would like us to touch on this aspect whereby Lebogang, you find it that in this day and age young people are being depressed. They go through depression. And I want you to be able to give us a blueprint on how young people, not only young people, the young, the old, the brave, and all the people, how can they really overcome that depression that they might be? I mean, we've seen prominent people committing suicide because of depression. But as a psychologist, how best can you give a blueprint on how they can overcome this disease called depression?
Ge ke le ka go tlhaloša depression, kgatelelo ya monagano, in a simple term, nkare people become depressed when they feel they are limited in so many ways, when they feel there are so many barriers. Batho ba ba le kgatelelo ya monagano ka lebaka la gore ge ba lebelela seemo ba bona ile gore ga gona se sengwe se se ka tswelelang, ba bona ile bofelo. So e ra gore ke taba ya gore na dikgopolo tše motho a di entertainang ka gare ga kgopolo ya ga monagano wa gage ke tša mohuta mang. Depression e tliša ke go nagana kana every second re ya nagana. And o swantse o be botlhale gore o nagana eng. And then o lwele gore o phele o nagana tše di botse le ka gare ga boemo bo ka reng bo a go tshošetša lebelela tše di botse. So depression mo go ba swa ka gare ga COVID-19 e tliša gore ba bona o kare go fedile. Motho mongwe ba lebeletše gore batswadi ba lositše mešomo, napile jwale ko federa jwang di-studies tšaka ya kwagala. Mara ge moso a ka itebelela re mara ka era ya bophe ka 21st century ye ke phela mo yona nka dira eng, nka studisha jwang. There are so many avenues tša baswa and ra nyaka information. Ntho ngwe re bolayang ke go se nyake information goba rena go le tsebo a re fane ka yona. So ge re ka tseba gore no man go na le COVID, yes, motswadi o latlhegetšwe ke mmereko, mara wena ke wena mang, like o re ko go retse ka re tsamaya o ye go lebelela video ya Lebogang e reng self discovery go thoma o tseba gore ko wena mang mo bophelong o nyako tseba o nyako tšea tsela e bjang then you are going to be able to detect gore okay gore ke survive gore ke fetse di studies tšaka. This is what I can do in the meantime ka thusha batswadi then dilo di tlo kgonega ene dilo di a kgonega really this COVID-19 ke transformation is a portal kore ka mo situationeng ye re sa le mo yona rena South Africa re sojo ka gare ga yona is a portal re ga bophelo bo re ben re bophela before and gape le bophelo bo botlang after COVID-19 and re tshwanetse go di prepare bophelo after COVID-19 because ga bo sa yo sona le bole ba before ga re sa ya go dira dilo ka mo gore ben re di dira before so we must prepare ourselves for example these days lena le di digital magazine and then now if business ya gago e beile ya go produce a magazine ana ke bofelo ba business or are you switching also into a digital magazine lena le gateway you are online radio station ke batho ba kae ba tsebang gore gona le di online radio station batho ba sa no tseba jela
study frequency you know it's entirely amazing what you're saying because you are touching on the fourth industrial revolution whereby people are adapting from what were they been doing, like let's say for instance on paper to digital most importantly. But I want to like what you said right now, that as someone who has a business, are you adapting to that mentality to say now that times have changed? Right, times have changed, it's the 21st century and then when the pandemic, are you adapting into the artificial intelligence that you are in today? Because I mean people are using computers, people are machines. I mean everywhere you go it's robots, it's artificial intelligence. But it goes back to say, do you think in the coming future, you said that there's COVID-19 it's a portal, meaning it's a get through or a way through from the world we've been in to the next world. Do you think that according to your own research, understanding and observation at large, do you think that artificial intelligence in the future will replace humans?
It scares me. You know, we sometimes talk about it in our house and I'm like, just imagine coming back home and a machine has prepared a meal for me. Man, you know, times are moving so fast, man. Things are happening. And I keep telling my kids that I will never have a helper of a machine or a robot. No. Man. That one I will stick to a human being. But many areas are going to be replaced. And not really that human beings will lose opportunities, will lose jobs, but new jobs or new careers are coming forth with this robot thing and yes.
But again, it goes looking at the time. It's exactly 7:46 on the dot. I'm going to be linking beauty for the family. What is this? Not the family. The scripture talk. Am I right? Yeah, the scripture talk. Let me just not waste time. Just link it right away. She's going to be doing that show from 8 to 9, if I'm not mistaken. Good evening, beauty. And how are you?
Tobela lagai.
Tobela ko locha. How are you? Thank you very much. What can we expect on is it the scripture show? Yes.
Scripture talk.
Scripture talk show today, exactly at 8 o'clock on the dot.
Chapter 1. Re tlo ba re seka se Kgoshi Solomon a se boletseng ka ra DM. E ba bolela based on life span ya bona.
You You're going to be tapping into Proverbs. You're going to be tapping into the book of Solomon, how he was so wise.
Yes.
You're going to be listening on top of the hour. Just 8 o'clock. A beauty going to be coming through. Thank you very much. Moving right along, at this point of time, I do have an aspect by the name of Me Lebogang Selahle. Give me a moholo. Ka se wa ke fela ke re lebogang ka re lekana le ke me moholo I'm Peter Kudu. Looking at the time, it's 7:47 on the dot. Yes, you were saying something about artificial intelligence. I don't know whether I can see that you're preparing something on your laptop there, which you have like prepared for our listeners. But we're saying something nice about robots. You find that you were telling your kids that I can never imagine going back home and finding a robot preparing a meal for me. You know, it would be out of this world. But then it's happening. You find it that you go to certain stores. There's a machine talking to you, asking for you to, what meal would you want? You just press that. It's giving you answers.
It's a robot.
It's a robot. So now, I want to understand, according to your own understanding at large, when you observe the world at large, the world that we're living in right now, would you say it's a good thing that artificial intelligence is taking place? That one might say, hey, me better quite no fair. Imagine would you say, according to your own understanding, what good does it have and what bad does it have, according to you?
It's my view.
Yes.
I might be no.
You are entitled to it.
Okay. To me, we shouldn't be scared. Aratshwanela go thusha ki life 8 lang post COVID, because the question ke gore, yes, okay, maybe one can say, I go to the shop, I'm talking to a robot. Mara janong a re iputse gore kana robot e createile ke mang?
It's a human being who did that.
Creating robot.
That's true.
Hence, new opportunities and new openings. So, technology. They must produce more robots.
More roads.
Yeah. And then everything is digital. Whatever house iPad. Phone.
Yeah.
Na I create ke mang. Behind the scene ke mang wa dirang gore go be le internet. Ke mang wa dirang gore go be le this and this on the phone. Is as tsona di opportunity tse re bolelang ka tsona. As tsona di new openings. Mara ge re lebeletse re bona ka litho la bofiega. Ke mo re bona go ka re batho ba felelwa ke mebereko. Ga re bone gore go tswelela mebereko ka a new fashion, a new face.
I agree with you 100% on that. You know, I was having a conversation with one of my friends the other day. You know, it's funny that nowadays you find it that a computer is asking you that are you not a robot, and you have to click some of the things just to prove that you're not a robot. It's funny. All right, moving right along. This is the Ultimate Talk Show, 7 until 8 on the dot, running with an expert, psychologist by profession by the name of Lebogang Selahle, multi-talented in different departments, farming, you may name it, different departments most importantly. And she's here to inform, educate, and entertain, like Gateway FM. It is the slogan. We are informing, educating, and entertaining. We are the hottest informative radio station in the entire country. So now you're saying something, I can see that you're saying that be careful of your confessions because your utterance either fuel your energy to deflate your energy. What do you mean by that?
It's true that what we confess is either is going to fuel your energy or deflate it.
Yeah.
They might even touch it. The power of confession. A word is not just a word. I say a word becomes a brick when it goes into the spirit realm and it start to build or to destroy. Ka sepedi ke ra gore mantšu a gago ge a ya mo moyeng a fetoga sa go bopa e ka ba gore a bopa goba a thuba a senya. So ka gare ga situation e nngwe le nngwe e leng bothata ke mola e leng gore re swanela ke go dumela gore tše di botse di etla. Go na le polelo ya Sekgowa e reng nothing lasts forever. Ebile go na le a song, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nothing lasts forever.
Indeed.
Yes. So a gona ntwe e leng gore ge e tlile e tletše sa ruri mara ge re sa le ka gare ga yona a re ithuteng go lebelela tše di botse re be re di bolele re se bolele tše re di tšhabang ka lebaka la gore the more you confess bad or negative the more you attract it to you and the more you confess positive the more positive things comes your way.
You call it.
It's up to you gore o nyaka eng mo bophelong ba gago. It's a choice.
You know, it's amazing what you're saying because I remember the other day, the first day when you came to Kidu FM, you were having a meeting there, and I could see there on your car's number plate, it was written with a Nigerian word. It's what? What?
It's a Ugandan word,
Yes.
which is Omuika.
Omuika. And I was like, what does this Omuika mean? And you were like, it's continuous overflowing blessings.
You have a good mind.
Yes. And I was like, wow, I've never heard that word before. In that Ugandan name, like in their description, Jerry's own. I was like, that's so amazing because now you're talking positivity to the universe. I can imagine how is it going to come back to you.
Exactly.
And you're describing that, no, but this day, it came up to me when the storm was now over. And now the Lord said to me, now it's time for continuous overflowing blessings. Now the storm has ended. And there's something much more nicer you touched. You spoke so highly about God, which I appreciate as a Christian person. You were saying that God himself is the CEO, or should I say the director?
He's the director of Beatitudes Psychology Center. Hence, I'm the CEO.
You are the CEO. All right. There's something that I saw there. Can you go a bit up? I wanted to talk with you about it. You're saying that here, cease talking about how bad things are. Some people think positive thoughts, but cancel them by what they immediately confess after positive confession. But focus on digging opportunities and focus on how you can make them real. Wow, that's extraordinary. But I want to know from you, Leborang, for someone listening right now and they don't see any light, they are struggling with their life, they don't know which direction in life direct them to. Maybe they're wanting to find a job, maybe they're still trying to find something ends meet. How best can you talk to them right now listening on the radio?
When you desire to attain something, ge o na le tumo ya go fitlhelela selo se sengwe, go na le dilo tše ka psychology re di bitsang di affirmations. And ba le batlong go bolela ka diema e tswa go buka ya Solomon.
Yes.
Papa go Solomon, King David, yena o bolela ka meditation. So meditation le affirmation ke ntho e tee. Ka sepedi re kare ke go bolela selo o ka re se šetse se le gona and wa se dumela. Re tlo ya go yona tšatši le lengwe ra ruta batheletše gore re dira jang. Mara se ba ka thomang go se dira today ke gore selo so se tlhokang se bolele o kare se šetse se le gona, o se ke wa re se sa etla se tla tšwela pele se ntše se etla se sa fihle. E re se fihlile o se bolediše, o se bolediše every day, o se amogele ka gare ga bophelo ba gago. Ke gore ge o nyaka go ba okay, for example, ngwana o nyaka go ba a medical doctor.
Yes.
Ke na le go e dira and ke e dira even in public ke dumela gore a se go ikgogomošo is because I teach wherever I go.
Yeah.
And I teach in so many ways. Bana ba ka go raka ba tseba gore go na le mamang specialist, go na le mamang technician, go na le mamang doctor. I call them ka se ba reng ba nyaka go ba sona.
Yes.
And the moment you do that, e ba sharpena le menagano ya bona ge ba ya go focusa mo di studies tša bona, because wa tseba gore okay ke nyaka go ba a doctor.
Yes.
And then what kind of a doctor? Ba mpotša gore okay ke nyaka go specialize. Then I call them ka that speciality. And a ka se fitlhelele a sa e dumele, e dira gore ngwana a e dumele gore ya kgonega o tla e fitlhelela. And then e shape character ya gage, o thoma go ba responsible mo di bukeng tša gage. A o sana mmereko montši wa go tlhomošetše morago. I'm giving this example to say, when you want to achieve something, speak it now. O ske wa re wena o tlo ba ngaka, ke ngaka mamang.
Yeah.
Ke pilot mamang. If o nyaka go bona a le pilot, ke pilot mamang.
You know what? This conversation is one of the most conversation I've ever had in history. Touching, phenomenal, extraordinary, beyond the perceptions. Most importantly, looking at the time, it's exactly 7:58 on the dot. A few minutes before the top of the hour, 8 o'clock. You know what? We had a lot to say, but our time, it's so little. I personally believe going forward, we'll expand the show. Maybe to 3-hour show, maybe 2-hour show, because I personally believe this show has more in store. Menebra, let's wrap it up. Where can people find you on social media?
People can find us on YouTube. The name of our YouTube is Beatitudes, and I would like to spell it. It's B for Betty, E for Elizabeth, A for Alpha, T for Timothy, I for India, T for Timothy, U for Anda, D for Dinah, E for Elizabeth, S for Sugar, L for Lebohang, P for Peter, at gmail.com. That is our email address. But our YouTube is Beatitudes Psychology, which is P for Peter, S for Sugar, Y for Yet, C for Come, H for Home, O for Open, L for Label, O for Open, G for Give, Y for Yet, which is Psychology and Center. CETRE. Beatitudes Psychology Center. Even our Facebook is the same name, and you also find us on TikTok.
Thank you very much, Lebohang Selate, psychologist by profession. I just only love two words there. S for sugar, P for Peter. Thank you very much. We do this thing again next week Sunday, and I personally believe next week Sunday is gonna be more massive than today, because today it was just an intro. What is it people can expect going forward? You know what? Thank you very much. I can say more now when I got to about anything.
Oh, you took me by surprise.
Yes.
You can choose the best that you think will suit my personality.
Yes, I think. Okay, let me give you this one as we are tapping it out. All right. Amifaku saying Ubutle Pako.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Uyabona ndinovu uyo andibona ubuso bakho ndibulela umdali ngondipha wena ndize ngobuhle